3, 2, 1.
Check it out.
What?
Had to hit him with the crazy by surprise.
Just went ahead and just did that.
They didn't know
Okay.
that was coming.
What up? What up? I already see you, Miguel, in the comment section talking
Found out.
about
Oh, day of resting.
oh day of rest and gladness.
This is not the platform for that.
What you mean?
This is not what we do here. Shout out to
What
Adriana.
up, Adriana? What do you mean we don't do what don't we do here? I'm sorry.
We're not doing the singing the hymns on our show
Why not?
because we don't do
We're
that.
bringing in the Sabbath.
Shay Andy.
Welcome, welcome, ever welcome. Blessed day.
Biggie know the hymn number
Yo,
382.
381.
Oh God.
Flee through
You got them
the week. God has brought us on our way. Let us now a blessing seek, waiting in his courts today.
Adriana, you don't know this one?
All the weak, the best emblem of eternal rest. You not feeling it? Day of all the weak, the best emblem of eternal rest.
Beautiful. Now you have another request. Bringing in the sheaves.
Da na 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 na.
I just
da,
know
na, na,
I just know the chorus.
da na 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 na. Da na 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 this. Da na 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 na. We shall come rejoicing, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bringing the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves, bringing in the sheaves. We shall come rejoicing, bring the sheaves.
Wonderful. Holy day, Jehovah's rest of creation week the best.
Holy day, Jehovah's rest of creation. Donna, no, is that it?
To us a sign shall
That's
be.
not it. Is that it? Throughout all eternity. No. Holy day.
Oh snap! You got her stumped, Gary. Shout out to Gary.
What he say? What did he say? I said, what he said?
I know, right?
What he say? It's right
where?
there.
He said, "Holy day
Oh,
of Jehovah's rest of creation."
rest. Da na 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 na. Da na 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 na. Da na 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 na.
No, Carlene. Sorry.
That's not it.
You
Was
get
that it?
I don't know that one
Was that
either.
the one I just sang?
Somebody put
That's it. Yanni said that's it.
somebody put the lyrics in the chat, please.
Da, na, na, while we hear da, sa, na, na, da, na.
This is why I don't do Bible Bowl. Facts. Even though these are hymns, but
But I don't remember the words.
She said the second one is it.
Yeah, the one I was just singing. Yeah.
So what's the one with it to us a sign shall be?
Holy Sabbath day of rest. I don't know the name of it. By our God divinely blessed.
Oh,
yes.
Here's another.
Welcome ever welcome blessed Sabbath day. Lord of the Sabbath and his something. Da na na na. Da na na.
Is there a song?
Da na da na da na da na. da 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 da.
Lord of the Rings.
It's Lord of the Sabbath.
Yo,
Birds over here laughing. Oh, there it is. Yanni put it in. Holy day, Jehovah's no. Last of all the chosen set, blessed of God to man was given.
is that it, y'all? Is that Yan? Is that it?
That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
You have the right. Marvelous Grace.
Marvelous. Wait.
Grace.
Marvelous. Da, na, 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 na. Grace that will. Da, da, na, na, na. Da, na, 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 na. Will you this moment his grace receive? Grace, grace, God's grace. I can't believe I'm singing on Facebook.
Grace that can pardon and cleanse.
And grace, grace, God's grace, grace that will
Grace that is
that
greater
is
than.
than all our
They be
sins.
trying to hate on me. I know my hymns too. Here's what I think I only know: blessed assurance. Me too. That's what I tell the church. Get up off your blessed assurance and do
Okay.
something for the Lord.
That song can hit though.
Mark.
Blessed assurance.
Happy to home.
Jesus.
Shay going in, yo. Shay, you got your Adventist hymnal.
Da 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 da, something like that.
Shay said, "These are my hymns." Shout out to Shay.
Facts, 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 facts. You
Shout
know
out
what?
to Adriana, not knowing hymns.
No blessed assurance. That should
Yeah.
count for something.
Shout out to Gary for knowing hymns that most people don't know.
I think that.
And shout out to Yanni for Googling the lyrics to the song we didn't know.
Yes. So the both redeem. It's redeem how I love to proclaim
And then
it.
the other one, what's the other one? They right next to each other.
Yeah, it's
Redeemed.
redeemed how I
I
love.
like that. I like that one more
Okay.
than the other one.
Wow.
That
That's
one,
good to know.
that one is when I
His child and forever I am.
so that's that hymn. Like
Redeemed.
I was like, why they put the same hymn right next to each other? And then when I heard the other version, I was like, they need to rip out
I need to
that
the
other
other one is
version.
cool too. That one just gives a little bit more like
That one slaps.
redeemed.
Holy thine, holy thine, holy thine.
You know that song, right?
Holy thine.
I am.
I only know
Wait.
it. I know it in the church I grew up. I know how they say, "Holy thine
They
and
need to
thine,
listen.
O
Not tonight.
Lord."
Not tonight. Not tonight. What is it called? I will be their Savior, holy thine. Teach me how, teach me how. I will do thy will, O Lord, not mine. Help me now. Dun, dun, dun. Holy thine, holy thine, holy thine, oh, this is my vow. Holy thine. Holy thine, O Lord, just now.
Amen, 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 amen. Wonderful song service.
And now we need to have the devotion.
Yes. Open up your Bibles.
Oh man, but it's nothing like some hymns though. Like I think as a teenager growing up in church, I appreciate it. Not appreciate, let me not lie. I didn't appreciate it. But the older I got, like I was just like, yo, this just joint be hitting, especially when you going through.
Seeking the lost. Oh, hold
That's
up.
a classic right
That is
there.
classic. Oh, hold up.
Hold
One.
on.
I gotta do one more horn. Shout out to the Christmas tree still holding it down.
Please.
20 days after the new year.
Who cares?
Christmas tree is still rocking. Mistletoes. The socks
Stockings.
still on the mantle. Shout out to the Christmas tree.
Yeah,
That's right. We just gonna leave it up till next year.
that's a no.
I
We're
don't
not
feel
gonna
like
do
I
that.
do not feel like taking it down.
You don't feel like taking it down, but it needs to go down
No, I don't
because
think
it
it's
is very it's over. I know
yo,
it's over.
yo, here's the thing though. Jesus wasn't born on December 25th. So I think we should definitely keep it throughout into Easter to his death.
Not in
We
my house.
celebrate the birth and we just as much appreciate the death
Not in my house.
and the resurrection.
No, not in my house. That joint needs to come down.
Sister Patty Foot
Honestly.
still got hers up. That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's time for it to come down. You know, like for me, I have like it needs to go down. I need to put back up my other stuff that I had.
To the 22 people watching us tonight, when does the Christmas tree need to come down? I understand
I'd say
Christmas
the
lights.
first
We
of the
still
month.
got people in our neighborhood that got Christmas lights up.
Yeah, their lights on their houses like are still very much bright and shining.
Yo,
You know what? This is what I feel like. I feel like this is what I feel, excuse me. I feel those lights are not very cheap to put up, right? So for me, I would get my money's worth and put them and let them shine bright. I would say all the way to February.
shine bright like a diamond.
You know why? Because it costs so much money. So it's gonna stay up. Everybody gonna know. Yeah, we still have our lights, but in the house,
Mr.
it's time
Tree
for it to
costs a
go.
lot of money.
But not as much as this. She didn't cost a lot of money. Not as much as
See,
those lights.
see, you only look at money as in currency,
What you mean?
and in regards to the cost, as in the monetary value, the cost of how much you paid for it. I look at the cost. I also account for the time it took to go get it out of storage. The time it took, it's going to take. No, it took to put it up. The time it costs to decorate it. And the time it's going to take to reverse all of that. So it cost a lot. It cost a lot to me. And I don't want to pay that price no more. And that's why I'm going to be cheap and keep it up till next year.
No, you
It
not.
ain't bothering nobody.
We are not keeping this tree up. And
Eh,
next Friday, God willing, this tree will be down, as well as the all the other Christmas decor. You see this? Well, actually, this right here stayed up all year. I completely forgot to take it down because
that
it
cone,
goes the
the
tree.
cone, that's a
Yep.
tree.
Yeah, it is a tree.
I
So
thought it was a cone.
it's been up there since last year. I have not taken it down because I actually forgot to, and it kind of blended with our vibe anyway. So
I think the tree blends with our vibe. We are the family that keeps on giving.
no, the tree is coming down. But anyway, I just have not been able. I was supposed to do it today, but oh well, maybe Sunday it'll come down. But anyway,
It ain't coming out.
yes, it is
It's
coming
gonna,
down.
it's gonna be on the next episode.
No, it's not. How much you want to bet?
I don't gamble, my dear.
You don't gamble?
Mm-mm,
Okay, you don't bet.
mm-mm,
Okay,
mm-mm.
good to know though.
Yeah, I'm a upright man.
Okay, that's good to know. How was your week?
My week was busy, and I
Mm.
think it started from last Friday.
Yeah, talk about last Friday.
So my organization, Faith in Texas, we put together a whole MLK weekend celebration.
Mhm.
Friday night we had a dinner with a DJ and just people from the community. And man, it was so dope that these chefs came together, black
Mhm.
chefs,
Mhm.
all different
That was
black
good.
chefs came together and put a twist on Martin Luther King's favorite dishes.
Mhm.
And so each of them brought out a different dish of Martin Luther King's favorite. So we found out Martin Luther King liked deviled eggs. We found out that he liked fried chicken. His dessert was peach cobbler.
Collard greens.
He liked collard greens. And they did their thing. So
Mhm.
that was Friday night.
Mercy Jesus.
That
They
food
did
was
their thing.
amazing.
Yeah. I think what impressed me most was that these were African American chefs and like they came out swinging. You know what I mean? Like it was just I just enjoyed the elevation of taste. Like they didn't just slap food on your plate. Even how it was presented, how they brought it around, the appetizers, it was just like top notch, and the food was amazing. The deviled eggs, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, gosh. she poached it in butter, and it was purple. So she did something in
Beets.
beets. I guess she boiled it in beets, so it was purple. And then she poached it in butter, and then oh my gosh, she put curry in the yolk.
It was
It was like
curry.
curry, dill.
It was a combination she did with curry that you would have never done
Yeah,
before.
but it was probably one of the best things I tasted that
Yeah,
night.
the deviled egg was
Yeah.
amazing. So yeah, so that was yeah, I want to remember what it was like the most weird. It was like you would never think about putting curry with this ingredient,
Hmm.
but it was
It
magical.
was really good.
They
Really good.
made jerk fried
Yeah,
chicken.
that was a first. I've never even knew that you can mix the two.
Yeah,
But that was amazing. Oh my gosh.
the mashed potatoes. They had a roast beef as well.
Mm,
We didn't eat that. But yeah, so
yeah,
that
that was
was
great.
Friday night, MLK dinner. Saturday, we partnered with Friendship West Church, and they did a Martin Luther King teaching service where we're basically just talking about the not the America has a sanitized version of Martin Luther King Jr. So they were talking about the real Martin Luther King and his message. And then on Sunday,
Mhm,
we had the screening of you got to see this movie, this documentary
mhm,
called Lowndes County and the Road to Freedom.
mhm,
Black Power and the Road to Freedom. Like, man, let me tell y'all something. The SNCC and Stokely Carmichael, Fannie Lou Hamer, Ella Baker, like
mhm,
they were next Lewis. John
mhm,
Lewis, they were next level. Like that movie was so powerful. And then we actually had somebody from Lowndes County
mhm,
was there. We interviewed them. And then we had Hakeem Jeffries' brother, Hassan Jeffries,
mhm,
who's a associate professor at the Ohio State University, I think.
mhm, mhm,
And so we did an interview with him and as well as a local organizer who's doing work around environmental justice. And y'all, it was church. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. And yeah, so that was the weekend. My week started that Friday
yeah.
and into this week has just been kind of busy, but I'm glad I'm alive. So
Mhm.
Mickey said, "Where is this place?" So it's not. We rented out a space. Shout out to Mia Street,
But
who's
it's chefs that made it was a different chefs that made black chefs that made the food. So it wasn't like a restaurant that we went to. It was just um five of like the
five. We hired one chef, and she put together five other black chefs from Dallas. So she organized, and that was amazing in itself because most chefs, I'm assuming, like the saying, you can't have too many cooks in the kitchen.
mhm,
So it was about 5 to 7 chefs all in one kitchen, just bringing out different meals. Like it was
and putting
nuts.
their own twist on the food. So it
Yeah.
was just amazing. It was amazing. The entire weekend was very powerful. Then you forgot to say that, never mind.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
say that.
Yeah, we went to and then I preached at a Jewish synagogue Saturday morning, congregation Bet Torah. It was a wonderful experience, an experience
Mhm,
I've never had before.
mhm,
And I think it also put into perspective, right, to understand like how they were breaking down the Old Testament and the Exodus story.
mm,
I was like, man, I need to go and sit inside of some Jewish synagogues to just
mhm,
let them teach me the Torah
mhm,
because the interpretation was stuff that I've never read in books. Like it was blowing my mind. And so to be able to preach at a Jewish synagogue, which was a first for me, and
mhm.
y'all, let me tell y'all this, yo. Let me tell y'all this after the service.
Well, let's first say they are not a traditional congregation.
Right.
Let's just say
They're
that. Put that in
very
there.
they're very progressive.
Yes.
Because they have a woman that's a rabbi.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
she is the leader of that congregation.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very progressive. They really care about justice work. They understand the Torah to be about justice, and so they really emphasize that work. And so that's why they invited me. But y'all, let me tell you something. After church,
Wait, first of all, talk about not even after church, like before they closed the service, what did they have?
Oh, communion. Well,
It
not
wasn't
communion. It's
communion.
not
It's not
communion.
communion.
They bring wine. They bring out grape juice. I thought it was grape juice.
They said it's grape juice and it's wine. The red
Right.
is wine and the clear looking colored drink was grape juice.
Oh,
I
so
said,
so I didn't have the wine. I had the grape juice. I had the clear color one, the white grape.
okay, so that's grape juice.
Okay, so yes.
I don't know if it's clear, but you were saying that it tastes like fermented.
It tasted kind of. It ain't taste like regular grape juice. It ain't taste like Welch's to me, right? That joint was not Welch's white grape. So they brought that out, but it's not communion. What they do is they drink the fruit of the vine at the end of the service,
Mhm.
and the purpose of drinking the grape juice, what they call the fruit of the vine, is in thanksgiving to all that God has given to them.
Mhm.
So after every service, they drink that as as a sign to say we are thankful for what God has blessed us with. But Joe, the party has not even started yet. After church. So matter of fact, let me preface it with this. So I asked him, did I drink wine? And he was like, yes. I guess he didn't see which cup I took.
Mhm.
So I was like, oh man, I drank liquor. And then he was like, well, don't worry, we have the real stuff for after church. I was like, but I don't drink. Yo, when we went outside in the fellowship hall, they opened up the cabinet and they had any and everything you wanted to drink. Jack Daniels, vodka, all of that. They were like, Dr. Jamie, we want to toast with you. So I was like, but I don't drink. They were like, all right. They said, come in the middle of us. And they all said toast to Dr. Jamie and the work he does. And they threw that joint back.
Mm. Mm.
And they were going for more. They had lunch and people were coming to lunch and they were going straight to the open bar. They would drink, they would
Yeah.
get lit
It
in
is
that
it
joint.
is definitely different. It was different for sure, but it was great because to sit in the space where, you know, um they truly worship and sing praises to God, right? Their singing is not like our singing. Like first of all, it was 3 hours long, but their service at the beginning is not even like talking or anything. That joint is just straight singing,
Singing and
singing
reading.
Hebrew, reading, and then you have to come around with a scroll, and
Yeah, the
it was,
Torah. They it's like a whole service around the Torah. They open up the Torah and then somebody is walking around with it
and
and
then they're kissing
they're
it.
kissing
So
it.
so I think the lady was saying that they kiss it because it's like they want God's words on their lips, right?
Yeah,
And so it was just a beautiful symbol, of course, of that. But I mean, it was beautiful. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, it was a little long, and of course, sitting there as they're singing in Hebrew, and just like, oh my gosh, one more song. And of course, you're doing a lot of standing up and sitting down, standing up and sitting down. But
yeah,
I would say overall, I would definitely go back and worship with them. They're just so very much
yeah,
welcoming. They do a lot of like, they're just making sure that you're comfortable and just like, are you okay? I just absolutely loved the
yeah. And
experience.
to Adriana's question, no, they're very progressive. So they did not have the men and women separated. The men and women were all worshiping together. They could come in the sanctuary and sit wherever they want to sit. I mean, the fact that they have a woman rabbi is just
Amazing.
that's just off top to
Yeah.
tell you that this is not your
Yeah.
traditional.
And she's been there for 9 years,
Yeah,
8 year or 5. She's been there for a while. So, and she's not like a big, like, it's just amazing and how progressive they are, but how like they empower her too. I love it. Shabbat Shalom. That's right. That's what they
yeah.
were saying.
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom.
shalom. Shabbat shalom.
Yeah, and what's cool is that they did not you're not allowed to have your
Device.
phones
Yeah, they
or
don't.
any devices. They said that they want you to be present. So of course phones are distracting. So I was like, dang.
Yeah, you're right. Camilla, a Caribbean essay shirt prepared you for a long service singing
True.
and standing out. But this is
No,
kind
it's
of
different
different.
though. This joint is
It's
kind of
built different.
different.
It's like it's built different because it's like it's not like in our churches we have designated people, so we bring in somebody to do special music. We bring in somebody to have the pastor gonna preach. This is just like they had like picking people from the congregation
Basically to read,
to
but for
read.
them it's like an honor.
Yeah.
But the rabbi, she is standing up there singing her songs like she going
Oh,
hard, yo.
yo, I know we're limited tonight, but can we talk about the prayer, like when they pray for people, like when they ask you if you have a prayer
Oh
request?
yeah.
So there's a part where I don't know if you saw this, like there's a part where they pray for Jews, and then there's a part where they pray for people who aren't Jews. And so they were calling out names of individuals that they want prayer for. Yo, the rabbi sang everybody's name. It was like
I don't even know
it
how to
was
do it.
like
I don't even want to say
yeah,
it because I don't want to make fun of it.
it was like she turned everybody's name into a medley, like how it was like, and
It
it
was
was
just like
bad names
it was
too,
literally
right?
like, come on, Camilla,
Yeah,
Jamie,
Seth Orley,
Ali,
Seth Oxley, blah, blah, blah.
Adriana.
Like, yo, this
I was
is
just like,
wild, yo.
but the good thing is that she can sing.
Yeah,
Like she knows how to sing, and I'm
yeah,
sure that was probably a prerequisite.
yeah.
But
I
it
was
was
going.
this one dude. It was this one dude
Yeah,
that was that they chose that he was reading the
my
Torah,
boy was
and
struggling.
my boy was struggling. He was struggling with that. He was struggling with that Hebrew,
I think they
and I
gave
was
I think they gave him the longest
and
passage.
dude was like,
He was drinking water.
excuse me. I was like, dang son, you need to study that Hebrew. But that part, I was just like, oh dear, he's not. He didn't study. He didn't study. But he did it though. He finished it. So
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah, yeah. If you do find like a progressive,
she said that's fire. A whole cipher. Yo,
yo, it was a
listen.
whole cipher. She and she
Yo,
she was holding it down. Like
yo.
Aya was thoroughly, thoroughly impressed by her leadership and just like even they have readings that they do every week. So I bent over to my man that I was working with, and he was like, I was like, yo, y'all do this every week? He was like, yeah, there's a different reading every week, and it's usually that long. But the fact that she was doing all of the reading, she was doing most of the reading, the prayers, and then she had like this, it wasn't her sermon, but it was like at every reading, she was coming out like, she was like, the children of Israel, they were crying because in juxtaposition to them celebrating a new king, they were crying because this king was like the other king. And the Bible says that he was not chosen, but he was placed upon them. I was like, what?
The preach.
Yo, I was like, yo, she breaking this joint down.
Yeah,
Like it
yo.
was so good. And
Yeah.
like, and then I think the part about how Moses got married, and she was explaining how the children of Israel were afraid to get married for fear of the fact that because their children would have been murdered by Herod, by the Pharaoh.
Hmm.
And so to see Moses getting married was like it was almost like a celebration in some sense because a lot of them was for fear of getting married because if they have children, their children would. She was like, imagine what it felt like to be a woman or to yeah, she was killing
She
it.
is. She
And
is
they had
living
and
her
they
best
had
life.
it and they had one sister up in there too.
Yeah, it was. She's just.
And
And
she
she was
was
singing. She was
she
singing. I was hearing her. She was singing them hymns. Those them songs.
can we talk about the other black lady we met that we sat down and had lunch with?
She's
That we
not black though.
yo, don't tell her that.
She's not black.
Not tell her that. Do not tell her that. It was after service, and I'm in the fellowship hall, and I'm just like, just mixing and mingle with people. And my girl came up to me. My girl was like, yes, we are here. And I was like, yeah, we are here. She was like, isn't it good to see African Americans worshiping in a Jewish synagogue? And I was like, yeah, that is wonderful. I'm like, so I'm thinking she talking about me. No, my girl was talking about herself. She is black. She grew up in Harlem. She got curly hair. So after we left, I started thinking about it. What was her name? She had a black. Her name is Sylvia something.
I think it was Harris.
She got a black
Sylvia Harris.
name.
As soon as I said, as soon as I was like, her name is Sylvia, and Jamie, I was like Harris, and Jamie was like, I was like,
Her
you
sister,
know, most black people's has like Harris, or I'm
she
just
is a
like,
sister. She is probably, she will pass as white
she
as
is
white,
blue eyed.
but her hair is curly and it don't look like no perm. It look like her
I
hair
don't know.
grows curly. And my sister, you could not tell her she ain't an African
Yeah, because she
American.
was very like,
She was
like
talking about
wearing a
growing up in
white, and
Harlem and
it's
how
like, dude,
her
oh,
parents was doing this in Harlem and or how she goes back to Harlem. I was like, yo, Sophia, I ain't mad at you. But her name, I don't know if that was her name, but her name was,
it's Sylvie or Sylvie.
and if you saw it on paper, I'd be like, okay, this is sister coming. When she show up, she is the palest of palest skin, blue eyes with curly hair. And she was like, ain't it good to see? She was like, yeah, we exist. African American Jews, black Jews exist. And I'm just looking at her like, you know what? You can have it.
Had at.
In solidarity, respectfully.
Had at.
All
But
right.
talking about, talking in line with us going to a synagogue, and you going to a synagogue to go and preach.
Mhm.
Um, I don't remember having a conversation about Jesus, honestly.
Yeah, so, interestingly enough, they don't believe he's the Messiah, but
Hmm.
they don't deny his existence.
Right.
The same thing with Muslims.
Hmm.
Muslims believe Jesus is a prophet. They acknowledge him. He's even mentioned in the Quran, but they don't acknowledge him as the Messiah or the last prophet.
Yeah. Yeah. And so as progressive as they are, I don't think they acknowledge Jesus the way that we acknowledge him.
Right.
But they do know how to celebrate that Sabbath. So
Get lit.
they can look.
Hey,
And then like I loved what the lady said. She said, this service is great. She said, but the one that we look forward to most is um the one where we're talking and fellowshipping and eating together. Like that is like what's big for them. But going ahead and kind of transitioning to our topic, talking about creep and compromise. So can you talk a little bit about where did that concept that come from, creep and compromise?
Cream and Compromise, man, that's Joe Cruz. That is, and anybody old school Adventist. Uh, and you'll remember those little, if you go to the ABC, there are those little booklets. And Creep and Compromise was a sermon that Joe Cruz preached. He was like a great evangelist from back in the day. And I always remember when I was at AUC, I used to like get those little things and I used to want to preach from it. But Creep
Mm,
and Compromise was basically a sermon he preached about how the church is allowing certain things to happen or to creep in
hmm.
and compromising its stance and its beliefs and not being who it truly is. So
Right.
that's where Creep and Compromise
So it was also a book.
it's not an actual book.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
it's a book. It's a
they
book.
probably turned it into the book, but I just
Yeah,
remember.
I
That's right.
remember.
Joe Cruz was the original amazing fact speaker. He said Jamie is a real Adventist. Yeah.
Dang.
If you know, oh yeah,
What did Kamala say? She said that book. That's why I was giving out Abstract's Pathfinder Trauma. Yo, that's where I read that book. I don't think I read it cover to cover. I think I literally skimmed through it. Didn't have a snake on it.
yep, yep.
Yeah, I remember that. Gamal says, I still have that book, Keep Creeping Compromise. That came from his sermon. The book basically says that the church has gone to the
In
dogs,
a nutshell,
essentially.
that's it. That's it. Yeah, but I remember the little pamphlets, and you would hand them out like Camilla said. You hand them out like tracks, and
Mm,
you'll have a whole. He like the ABC was full of his sermons. He
yeah,
had sermons on jewelry, everything, like all of those things. And when you young and coming up,
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
gotta
yeah,
preach like that.
yeah,
Because if
yeah,
you don't preach like that, you're not real.
yeah, yeah. So. That's more like where that concept came from. Would you agree? Or do you think
I
it's
think
a
it came from,
secular,
yeah.
you think he created that creep and compromise thought, or do you think it's kind of like a
It's a good question. We should Google it. He may have, but I won't be surprised if he heard it somewhere
okay,
and changed the title. Like MLK's Have a Dream speech. That wasn't the title of it.
right?
It was entitled something else, but he heard a little girl praying and he was like, "Oh, that should be the title."
Sounds like a pastor, something a pastor would.
This messed up.
Sorry. Did I say it out loud?
Yeah, you sure did.
Sorry, not sorry. But anyway, so okay, so our topic today, we're talking about creep and compromise, and not in the realm of uh, Christian Adventism.
Yeah, because this is not a Bible study.
It's not a Bible study. Jamie makes that very clear.
A
It's not a
study.
Bible study, but compromises that you make in relationships, right?
Mm.
Compromises that you can make that you make in relationships, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, friendships, even, and of course, marriage with your partner. So, my question to you is: do you think men compromise more than women? Well, first of all, do you think that compromise is more attached to a feminine, like, is it more like a feminine thought than it is masculine? Like, do you feel like, let me see if I'm asking it right. Do you think, like, when you think about compromise, if you're in a group with your boys, right? Are you gonna say, well, I compromised with Carlene?
I'm not probably not gonna use that word.
What word are you going to
I'd
use?
probably be like, yeah, so man, yo, man, I fell back. I ain't really push.
Okay, I've
Yeah, I fell back. I ain't really pushed that hard. It's like, yo, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
But why wouldn't you use that word compromise with your friends?
There's too many letters.
Stop lying. Stop playing.
Too many,
It's not too many
too
letters.
many syllables.
Yo,
Compromise.
oh my gosh.
You gotta get it out quicker, so fall back. I fell back.
No, but I'm serious. Like, why wouldn't you use the word?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it's one of those things where it's like I'm trying to intentionally not use the word. I think it's just how I speak. And if somebody said in that when I said that, if somebody said, "Yeah, you compromised," and I'd be like, "Yeah, I did." But I do think that, but I will say that I think even there is a sense of uh within me. I don't know how other people feel, but I think for me as a guy, there's maybe a little bit of shame in it as well
Mhm,
because you're kind of supposed to be like a guy's supposed to assert himself.
mhm,
He's supposed to be, you know, the one saying XYZ. I put my foot down. This is how it's
mhm,
supposed to be. So,
mhm,
I think there may be some little shame in regards to how guys talk with their friends about their relationships
mhm,
versus how their relationships actually are.
mhm, mhm. So Billy says, no, I think it manifests for males and females differently. I agree.
Yeah.
I do agree. To your point, you just said that compromise often seems more like showing weakness,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
If you are compromising, especially as a man, right? It looks different. It looks like, oh, he weak. So he went ahead and I don't know, became
Yeah, you a sucker. You
shoot.
you know what I'm saying? Like you weak. Like, and I think and Billy Augustine is definitely dropping some gems. I think how socially we've been conditioned to think of in relationships and men that if you give in or if you give up your right, it's almost like you are giving up your manhood,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so even if it's just like one little thing, you know, it, when we get in front of brothers, it may feel like it's exhausted. It's like, oh, son, you whack, yo, why you do that? But I think that's more of an immature crowd. I think with my friends now,
Mm-hmm.
and the age that I am, I don't think it's the same thing. I think it's different. I think
Mm-hmm.
now it's understood better. but definitely in a boyfriend girlfriend relationship. And if you're a teenager or maybe early 20s in that age group, and you still, for some guys, probably still not mature enough to handle or to be in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
I can see how a compromise can be viewed as weakness, can be viewed as, um, can be just viewed as something that's, you know, not something that's frowned upon.
Right. Gary says depends on who you ask. Women think they do it more and will articulate it. Men think they do, but really admit it publicly. Both sexes do though.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me ask you, like, I feel like though, I feel that in relationships, it may be possible that I'm sure if we were probably to survey a lot of men, right? I'm assuming that men are going to say that they compromise very often in their relationships.
You said men
Hmm.
compromise
Yeah.
often in relationships
Hmm.
and women,
Get their way.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're saying,
I'm saying that I think that if we were to do a survey
mm-hmm,
and say we were to probably do about 50, ask a survey, put it out to 50 men
mm-hmm.
and ask them, do they compromise a lot in their relationships? I'm just making an assumption that men would probably say yes, that they probably do make a lot of concessions. And I would assume that they would probably say that they make more than their wives do.
No way.
You disagree?
I completely
So
disagree.
you would think that if you surveyed 50 women, you believe that you think women
Yes.
make more concessions than men do?
I think it's just about the same. I think I think a lot of people make assumptions that women get their way more than men do.
Mhm.
But there are countless women, including myself, who have made concessions, who have compromised, right? For
Mhm.
the better good, right? I
Mhm.
think in a healthy relationship, it's something that's shared, right? I
Mhm.
know generally, I would think that most men in a healthy relationship very, would say that they have concessions
Mhm.
with each other.
Okay. All right. So now,
Because it's almost like you're saying, I think a lot of people again assume, or maybe it's in what we read and societal norms that says, oh, men never get their way, a woman always gets her way,
mhm.
and that's not necessarily the case.
Right. I'm just making assumptions, right?
Oh,
I'm not
you're not speaking for the masses.
No, I
Oh,
can't speak for the masses. That's why I said if I did a survey, I'm assuming that men would probably be like, yeah, I feel like that I give up some of the things that I want to do because I want to make sure that my wife is happy.
yeah, I think that women may not communicate it the very same way it has been communicated, that men have communicated wanting getting their way,
So
because
how
I feel that men get their way. I mean,
so you feel that men, well, I'm going to say this. You feel it's 50-50.
mm-hmm,
You think women get their way, men get their way, everybody makes compromises
mm-hmm,
in order to have a healthy relationship.
mm-hmm,
Okay, now let me see this. When you compromise, so when you compromise,
mm-hmm.
do you speak about it or do you verbalize it or how do you make it known? Or is it just something that I'm gonna just in my head just say, you know what? I'm not gonna say nothing. Go ahead, do what you want to do.
It depends on what it is, right? I'm not gonna go out and say, yo, I made a compromise today. I'm not
Right.
necessarily doing that. It depends on what specifically is happening.
All the brothers, I ain't touching that. I ain't touching leaving being said because they.
Yep, it's crickets. All the men are like, nope, 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 not touching that
Y'all ain't
one.
right, man. Y'all get y'all get the triangle for that. Not even the triangle, the bicycle horn.
He said the men in the comments are compromising right are compromising right now.
That's right. Mad compromises, yo. Like I ain't touching that. I'm trying to go. I'm trying to sleep well tonight.
Gosh.
It's all good. I'm just trying to make conversation.
Oh, right. Is
That's
that what it is?
yeah.
Because it sounds like almost like this
No,
is
no,
you
no,
speaking
no.
from the heart.
No, no. I'm just making assumptions, right? I'm just making assumptions that I thought that I've assumed that if you to privately survey men without their wives being present and they can answer anonymously, if I think that if you were to put that survey out, that men would probably say that they feel like they compromise quite often in order to make their wives happy.
And I feel the same that women would do the same. They will say that I compromise often, more than my
And
husband.
and then I would even go further with the survey and ask the questions in regard to in what areas, right? What areas do you feel like you compromise the most, or what areas do you feel like you
Hmm.
make concessions for to make the other spouse happy? I think it's worth studying. I think it's worth asking because honestly, like I'm not going to. I don't think that I don't think a woman and I don't think a man is going to be as honest and upfront in front of their spouse when it comes to talking about things that they feel like they compromise about.
Hi.
Because because of this right now. Right now, like how you making me feel, how all the men in the comments like, I ain't touching that. But if I get them brothers in the room and we were talking about something, they would probably be like, yeah, I'm not gonna say they feel like they compromise more, but they'll probably say things that they just wouldn't say in front of their spouse.
Hmm. Hmm. I don't know. Um,
Am I wilding? Am I bugging
it's
out right
not like
now?
it because nobody's saying nothing. I feel
That's
like
why I think that's why nobody not saying nothing.
I'm going to help Jamie out, help him out because right now he's on his own.
I am about. I'm just saying that in the context of the low hanging fruit or women, low hanging fruit for women are compromising career, family life. I absolutely agree with that. I think that women uh do a lot of concessions in regards to their overall lives, right? Like carrying babies, sacrificing a lot of what they do, sacrificing their pay. I'm not disagreeing or arguing that. Only point that I'm trying to make is that I'm just assuming I just would love to know how men think about compromise and how they feel. If they feel like that within their relationships or whatever it is that they're like they have to keep quiet or they can't get what they want or they just don't say nothing because they don't want no problems.
Hmm.
They want to buy something. They don't want no problems. Or for example, or not for example, they want to buy something. They can't. They want to go somewhere. They can't. Or um maybe tonight they want to make love. They can't. Things like that. Like where and how does that make them feel?
Hmm.
Like like I'm going to sacrifice what I want because this is not what the other person wants. But that's out of respect and love. So I think it's worth a question or worth looking into rather than to just make assumptions to be like, yo, we did 50-50 and these are what the results were. This is what came out of just asking men and women how they feel about compromising and where's they compromise. And that's it. I don't know. I'm not a researcher like that.
Sharon says most relationship manuals encourage women to bend, submit, given, yet compromise more than men.
Mm. I'm not disagreeing with that. I think we definitely live in a patriarchal society.
Jamie isn't tripping. This isn't my reality. He made sure he put that joint there.
That's right.
It isn't my
That ain't
reality.
my reality.
But some of my male friends have bent over backwards in their marriages in ways that don't always get recognized. Hmm. Wow, that's deep.
Yeah, and
I'm
it's
going to even talk a little bit more about that.
valid, but I think it's valid in the sense that we shouldn't dismiss it right away to be like, ah, men don't bend over backwards. Let me see what you're talking about. I think it's a valid. I think it's someone that if someone says that we should research it or we should look into it. Like, what would make you say that? Rather than to just dismiss it to be like, nah, men don't bend over backwards.
I think in general there shouldn't be a comparison because I feel like it's situational, right? Those things it can sometimes be sometimes it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it can be situational where, for example, you just had a baby and you're the mother, of course. So you're waking up every 2, 3 hours to feed the baby and you're feeding the baby. You would hope that your husband turns over, wakes up, and changes the baby's diaper or say, is there anything that you need from me, opposed to just kind of sleeping through it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the compromise would be for at that moment, the husband can say, you know what, she is having a human being suck on her, every moment. Let me go ahead and give her some sort of a reprieve or a break
Mm-hmm.
where maybe you take the baby when the baby's burping, and when the baby needs to be burped. And so sometimes, in that situation, the man is now sacrificing or compromising his sleep, right? To be able to have his wife know that you're sharing in this responsibility. And and a woman at that point in time can say, you know what, I'm tired, but I know he's tired too. So this shift, I'm just going to go ahead and let him sleep through it. But I think where it becomes like this is where it becomes a little funky when it seems as though there's no compromise. Like the man is just like, yo, I'm gonna sleep through every feeding. This is your responsibility. You do it on your own because I don't. This is not me.
So you said something, and so this is where I think we differ.
Okay.
I think that I think that maybe male and female definition of compromise is different. So with that example that you brought up, I don't see that as a compromise. I see that as a part of a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
I see that as I'm helped make the child just as much as you did. You did more of the work, right? But it's still me me waking up to make the bottle, feed the baby, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, in my book, that's not a compromise. That's a responsibility. That's a
Mm-hmm.
that is a that is a natural, that is supposed to be a natural response in regard to me saying I would say it's more of a sacrifice
Mm-hmm.
than a compromise for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? That I'm sacrificing. I need to sacrifice my time. I need to sacrifice my sleep because I am responsible for you and for this child that I've brought into this world. So I don't see it as a compromise where it's like we need to bargain or barter or make a deal or anything like that. So I see that. So I think I think maybe going back to my original point, that maybe the definition of compromise for men is probably different, maybe different for in different relationships, right? How compromise is viewed. But I look at that as well. I define a compromise as um I define a compromise as an example of, yo, I really want to get this or I really want to go here. And you'll say, nah, don't get that. because we're trying to do this or do that or whatever, and then it's like me saying, all right, if we don't do this, then maybe we could do that. So it's giving up, it's compromising what I want to do, giving up what I want to do because we had a discussion and it's, you know, it's better to do it this way.
So it sounds like compromises of and sacrifice is a very thin line, right? Because you're sacrificing your whatever it is that you feel or whatever it is that you feel like you need at that moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the betterment of the bigger picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It can kind of go hand in hand,
Right.
compromise and sacrificing.
Right. So I think there is a sacrifice that comes with a compromise, and that sacrifice is giving up your right or your desire to have it go your way
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of the greater good,
Mm-hmm.
the sake of what's better for both of us, right? So, okay, here's an example: buying a house
Mm-hmm.
or buying a car,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I want a BMW.
Mm-hmm. That you do.
I want a BMW. I want this BMW. No, we need to go get a Volkswagen. But we could afford a BMW. Let's get a BMW. No, I like this BMW. I mean, I like this Volkswagen. I think it's good. I think it's durable. All right, I'm not gonna get the BMW.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the 50-50 can be flipped the other way, right? It can
Mm-hmm.
be like, yo, Carlene, this house is amazing. Let's get this house. I ain't really feeling it. I don't really know. All right, but because you like it, you love it, it's got this, it's got that, let's get it. Like those I see as compromises.
Yeah, that's definitely a compromise. That's definitely a compromise. But sometimes when you compromise in those moments, for me, let me speak personally, when I compromise in those moments, sometimes regret, right, starts to surface, where it's
Mm,
almost like you compromise and you understood that it's for the greater good, but it's that regret of saying, dang, if I spoke up or
right.
if I kind of made my point a little bit more stronger, not a little bit more stronger, if I made my thoughts everything clear, if I stood my ground more, I wouldn't be feeling like, dang, this regret of, dang, why did I let him convince me to do it this way? You know what I mean? So it's like it gets real
Yeah.
cloudy and murky,
Yeah.
in those moments
And
when those compromises, you're just like, dang, why did I do that?
and there's nothing worse than making a compromise and the situation didn't work out for the
Oh,
good.
man.
Right? So you
Preach.
so you looking at
Preach.
yo, I gave up. I knew this was not gonna work. But I said, you know what? You go ahead and rock with it. And then you look at the situation and it's like, you want, so let me answer,
Yeah, let's end.
let's
Yeah, yeah,
answer,
yeah.
'cause I have another question. So, are you saying that men's compromises go more unseen? Nah. I think men's compromises do go seen.
I think it
Um,
depends, again, to someone's
yeah,
point, like in the comments, like men are going to be quiet, right? In a
that's
sense
true.
where in different spaces where they feel most comfortable, that's when it's going to come out. But in like public or whatever spaces, you won't hear from them, and then it may be considered as though it's not seen. I think in a relationship, in a marriage, like Jamie and I go through like I compromise and he compromises, right? And so, like in the maturing of our marriage, right? At the very beginning when we first got married, like there will be stuff that he would say or he would compromise, right, with, and I would kind of just take it as, oh, he's like, okay, like we're trying to figuring it out together. But there will be some times where Jamie will come to me after, like even years after, be like, yo, how did you really feel when we made this decision? And he'll be like, well, this is what I really thought. This is what my feelings were for, not that he was lying at the time, but he was just like, yo, this means more to her in this moment. So I'm just going to go ahead and compromise. Right. And so, um, I think in a maturing, open, where communication is open and you're really unafraid or not, yeah, you're not afraid to speak openly to your spouse that there will be moments where he's just like, yeah, this is how it made me feel, or this is how I felt.
Hmm.
So I think sometimes in a marriage or in a relationship, sometimes it just goes through these different stages, right? And where I think the most important part is communication, right?
Yeah.
Communicating with your spouse and be like, yo, let's go ahead and weigh this and see if it best fits what it is that we are aiming to do as a
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. I agree with what Miggy said, and I absolutely agree with what you said, that there are a lot of men that compromise by not speaking in the first place.
Facts.
Yes.
So that's even an issue of its
Right.
in and of itself.
Right. And I think also too, I think a healthy relationship when it comes to compromises should be able to be like, this is not what I want to do, but if you feel strongly about this, then I trust you and
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna stand by you
Mm-hmm.
with this decision rather than to just keep silent and to just be like, whatever. Because I think Sister Patty Foot said it, that's not compromise, that's
Giving
giving
in.
in.
Yes, that's good. I also think that sometimes, to your point, when you're talking about, you just said something like,
Men not saying nothing.
yeah, I think in a growing marriage, right? Like as you're growing together, that is so important for you to talk to your spouse. Like Jamie and I we came to, I don't know when it was, if it was like 2 or 3 or 4 years ago, and um, where I was just like, at the beginning of the in the beginning of the marriage is like you know each other but you don't know each other, right? You talk to each other but you're not really talking to each other. Some things may get lost. You kind of go, it's not as open. For us it wasn't as open. It was open, but it wasn't as open and real as it is now. And so where we are now, I feel like we can talk to each other and be like, yo, let's go ahead and work through this and see how we can, whatever. And
Mhm.
I can come back to him and say, um, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that. And he can say, well, I need you to trust me. And so those are all things. I know we talk a lot about trust in relationships and marriages or whatever, but it's really important because it really helps when in those moments when you're compromising.
Yeah, so this was a question we probably can't tackle it tonight. We probably need a part two,
What
but the
question?
question I was gonna ask is when you compromise and the decision does not go or does not pan out the way you wanted it to pan out,
Or she,
how do you respond to your spouse or to your significant other? Is
when
it
what?
when it doesn't work out? So, for example, like, yo, let's go get this BMW. You're like, yo, it's used. I don't think it's gonna last. And you're like, nah, I checked it. I
I
went
ain't
through
gonna
it
lie.
and broke down. Do you turn to how do you treat your spouse after that? Is it a I told you so? Is it is it
Okay.
you get that's what you get?
So, so
How do
can
you
I be honest? Can I be
yes.
honest? Can we
Keep
be
it
honest in this space? Can
keep
we
it
keep it 100,
1,000.
1,000?
Keep it
Can we keep it
1,000.
1,000 in this
Keep it
space?
1,000.
Okay. So I think again, there are different maturity levels. In the beginning of our marriage, I would definitely be like, I told you so. Like, yo, listen, like, why did you do that? Like, what decision? Why would you make that decision? Especially now, we are having to experience this together, right? Like, why? So in the beginning of our marriage, I would for sure communicate that to him. And not, of course, I'd be very tactful, but I would definitely let him know, like, yo,
There
like,
ain't
why'd
no
you do this, yo?
there ain't no tactful way.
No,
There-
before you can say, yes, there is. You can say, yo, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like speaking to you in a very
Yo,
disrespectful way.
let me say this. I don't know if there's any tactful way to make a person feel good when they've made a bad decision. Like there's no like I don't know if the tactful way for you because the person that made the bad decision already know what's coming.
And they already feel
They
bad.
already feel bad. So
Yeah. So
and they know because it's like, yo, just leave it alone. Just leave me
so
alone.
that's the thing. That's the thing in like relationships, and as you're maturing, right? You learn to be like, yo. I am not going to kick you while you're down, right? I already know you are kicking yourself. So I'm not going to kick you when you down. Now in our marriage, right? 14 years later, I'm going to be like, yo, be like, all right, let's go ahead and let's think positive. Let's go ahead and see what other options we have.
Saba said, "My silence is worse than my I told you so."
Like,
And both parties be back quiet because I'm sitting there like, dang man, I messed up, yo. So it's like, how I'm gonna fix this? So yeah, but but you said it though. It's a definitely it's a growth process. Like I think people understand, or people need to understand, in marriage there is a growth process that takes place, and when you are in love with the person, you've been with the person long enough, you start dealing with their foolishness, I use that word, in various ways, right? So there were times when you'd be silent and I'm just sitting there like,
yeah, and Jamie hates when I'm silent.
yeah.
When I'm silent, he be like, yo, at least cuss me out. Cuss me
Right.
out.
Right.
But I'll be like, I'm just gonna stay quiet. And because I'm thinking, because in my brain, I want to say, I told you so, but I humble myself and say nothing because I know if I say something, it's going to hurt his feelings.
Now
And so I'm compromising what I really want to say for your feelings.
now there is a difference in
Mhm.
regard to when you make decisions that don't go the way they're supposed to. I don't say nothing. I
I
don't
think it's your personality, though. I think
I
that's
be wanting to say something. I be like, you know what? I'm married to a black woman. I ain't saying nothing. She already know. And I already go into, let's see how we can fix the situation.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. But that's mature. That's maturity right there.
well, then I've been mature since the day we got
It's
married. It's like I'm not gonna.
it's true.
I be worried about. I told you should not have done that or put that there, but I leave it alone. So I know in our relationship,
Wait. But you won't say anything, but how you act, how he acts, right? Certain, I could tell like by his body movements, like, yo, he tight right now, right? He won't say anything, but I can just tell, like, he does this thing where it's just like, nah, yo, what's going on? Why are you here? Why are you doing this? But I definitely think that I think that the what we're trying to say is if you're married and whether you just got married or you've been at it for umpteen years, I think accepting where you are in your where you are in marriage and just trying your best to communicate openly. I know that Miguel, you did say that communicating openly is tough. It is, it really is. But I think for us, or for, let me speak for me, I come up my perspective is more like, if I can't be open with him, then who in the world can I be open with?
yeah. And if you can't make mistakes in
Right.
front of, or you know if you have to be perfect, then that's not a relationship.
Right.
That's not healthy. You gonna compromise, you gonna make mistakes, things are gonna go
Exactly.
because you're human. So I think
Exactly.
in a nutshell, if you can't be human with the person that you're with,
Yeah.
that's not a relationship.
Yeah, that's a little rough
Yeah,
because everybody makes mistakes.
that's
Of
how you
course,
learn.
sometimes, as again, different stages, like there were moments or times where I was just like, yo, I feels like I'm I'm doing more than Jamie, right? And so what I've learned to understand is in marriage it should be I'm doing more or less, right? If you are healthy and you communicate in an open way, it shouldn't be where you're comparing what each other's service to each other.
Hmm.
That it should be something where that's what you're doing this, and I appreciate the fact that you're doing what you're doing, and not discount that, because I think that's an important element too. A lot of people miss. Sometimes I miss it too, where I'm not saying, yo, thank you for doing that specific thing, so that you kind of make like it makes you feel like your compromise is not like for nothing.
Right. As stated, there are ebbs and flows in marriage. So It has been over an hour.
So basically when we got married, before we got married, so let me just say I am not a dog person.
Not a dog person at all.
I hate dogs. I'm sorry for all the dog lovers on
You
here.
don't hate them. You just don't like them.
No, I
You don't hate
okay.
them. You just don't like.
So my experience with dogs have not been positive, right? My family owned, I don't know how many dogs we owned, not all together, but just different times in growing up in my childhood, we had dogs. And these weren't like the dogs saying, um, these weren't like your average, the dogs that you see nowadays. These are not house dogs. These are dogs in the yard. You probably, I don't even think we gave them names. Maybe we did have names, but I didn't care to know their name because I just couldn't stand them. I was scared of them. I remember one time being chased around the house in the house with this dog, and I'm just like running and screaming and crying at the same time. And like my brothers are just sitting there laughing. Like I'm just like, yo, nobody gonna help me. Nobody gonna
I'm
make this
laughing
dog
right
stop.
now. It sounds amusing.
So I've just never, ever, 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 ever liked dogs. And so Jamie, I think when we got married, we you weren't really like wanting a dog. You never like
Nah.
communicated that but you did say like maybe when we have kids, we'll have a dog. And I was just like,
Or
oh
a
Lord.
house. Like when we got a house, that's when I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, nope, I don't want a dog. I don't want a dog. I don't want a dog. So we have two little people join our party, and they are constantly asking, we want a dog. We want a dog. Can we have a dog? Can we have a dog? Please, can we have a dog? Can we have a dog? And every time they ask, I say, nope, I'm not having a dog. I don't want a dog because I don't like them. They stink. They it's just another responsibility, just another thing to think of, right? Another mammal to think of, and I didn't want another person to think of. Well, not a person, another thing. And I kind of knew that this will probably become a responsibility of mine because they're kids, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, I don't want to pick up poop. That's disgusting. Like, who in the world would want to pick up somebody else's poop other than your child, right?
It's a dog.
So for years, I honestly told the kids, I was like, that means if y'all want a dog, that means you don't want me in this house
And
anymore.
that was a compromise we were willing to accept. We were willing to let her move out so that we could get a dog.
No, they weren't. No, they
They
weren't.
were. We talked about it when you went to work.
That's rude. You better stop spreading those things before someone just logged on and said, Jamie and Carly are splitting up because, boy. Anyway, so I was just like, nope, I don't want a dog. I don't want a dog. I don't want a dog. So I don't know when it happened, but I thought I don't want them to grow up being afraid of dogs the same way I was afraid of dogs, right? This dog is probably going to be different in that he or she is house trained. There's a name. They get to go to the vet. Because real talk, our dogs they never went to a vet ever.
You got a West Indian dog.
Top of that, I remember, I don't even know if I should share this story because this is animal cruelty to the next level. Should I share it or not? No, no, I'm gonna share. I'm gonna share. It's too much. It's too much.
Yeah, you had a West Indian dog. Your dog barked, "Awoof, awoof, yo, let me get some food, awoof,
You are so rude.
awoof. Want yam some kibble and bit, yo."
Oh my gosh, I cannot. So anyway, long story short, and you're still laughing.
That joke is funny.
You finished?
I finished.
Okay, I finished.
Awoof.
um, I definitely feel like, um, I definitely feel like I didn't want a dog, and I still don't want a dog. Um, so we talked today, excuse me, not talked, we talked to you all about compromising, right? And I think when you are compromising, there is a sacrifice where you sacrifice yourself for the greater good. You still laughing with, oh,
I just pictured a Jamaican dog.
The Jamaican dog.
Jamaican
Oh my
dog.
gosh.
The people like the Jamaican dog.
Okay, are
Yo,
you done?
yam some kibble and aki, yo. Some aki and kibble and
They don't eat kibble and bees. They probably eat that chicken.
Jamaican dog with jerk
Yeah,
chicken.
yo, whatever left over, whatever you don't want to eat on your plate, that's what they eat. Nowadays, these dogs, you can't even do that,
It's
yo.
true, yo. Dogs, yo.
But
Nevertheless, yes.
anyway, so and you still
I'm
laughing.
not laughing no more.
So the other day
Jamaican dog gone.
you laughing,
West Indian dog.
you're lying. So anyway, so I definitely caved in, or I compromised because I felt that this may possibly be something great for our family
And for you.
and for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And it has been.
I
And it
mean,
shall be.
he's I mean, I'm really trying because I don't want the girls to. I don't want it to make it look like I'm not participating in this thing that we are doing as a family, right? I'm making a whole lot of compromise because Lord knows I don't like to touch them. I just don't. They lick you. Oh, gross.
But
They like to sniff you.
you have been very endearing and loving to our
Yeah, because I don't want him to hate me.
He don't hate you.
Amber, can you bring him, please? So we're gonna show you guys for the very first time the newest addition to our family. His name is okay, and you're following Baxter. And
Yes.
Baxter is being gross. He's gonna come on me. Ugh. You probably need to move your chair back a little bit.
This is the newest member
Go,
of our
gross.
family, Baxter.
Down the table. Gross.
I
Here you
will,
go.
I will for me that. You see me dread, yo.
So here is Baxter. Baxter, say hi to the people. He is a mini poodle.
Mm-hmm. He
Um,
is only 11 weeks old, so we are in puppy stage. So if you have puppy advice, please give it to us.
uh-oh, not on the table,
Because
Baxter.
Baxter is still peeing on carpet in the house,
Yes.
and we're trying to get him trained. Like
And
I
y'all
need
know
to.
I don't like a smelly or dirty house. And of course he's hypoallergenic. What else is he? I don't know what else he is.
He doesn't shed a lot.
Right.
He's an infant.
Yeah. And so it's hilarious because Jamie,
Puppy advice is to return him.
who said that?
Yes.
Thank you, Saba.
Yo, Saba.
Yo, facts.
It's a West Indian dog.
He is not a West Indian dog.
He's not a
He is
dog.
not saying a wolf.
Yes, he
Right,
is.
Baxter?
He's
Oh,
saying,
look at his face.
he's
Look at his
saying,
face.
he said, I wolf. He's saying, oh,
Don't make it
dog.
touch the table though,
He's saying,
please.
oh, dog like me.
Oh gosh.
May have to have the kibbles in the 2 and 3.
Oh dear.
All right. Bye-bye, Baxter.
So that was
He should go
little.
outside.
Yeah, I think he definitely does.
Yeah, he's been in his cage, so.
So he has taken over our lives, and it's hilarious to see Jamie and him because he'll listen. And so Jamie is like, Baxter, I said, come here. And Baxter's like, so today, right, like a few moments ago, Baxter, Jamie was like, I'm upset with you. I don't like what you did. You know you in trouble. And then Baxter turns his head. And then Jamie was like, I said, look at me when I talk to you. And Baxter did this. I was like, what is happening
I be
here?
talking to I'm gonna talk to him like that that reel where the lady was like, sit down. You are a dog of God. You do not act like that. We do not expect things like that from you. You are a dog
Oh my
of
gosh.
God.
Oh my gosh. But
He's a mini poodle. So yeah, I think that's
that's the breed.
the breed.
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know nothing about dogs. We
Nothing.
just looked, and when we walked into the
Store.
store, he locked eyes with us. The girls connected with
Now
him.
it's with y'all.
Yeah,
I didn't touch him.
He looked at yo. Him and Carlene are funny though, because he want to eat her slippers, and it's
Yo.
like,
Yo. No, I tell him, I'm like, we are not eating. I talk to him like my kids. We are not eating
Yeah.
slippers.
Yeah.
We eat our chew toy. That is what we eat. And then I have to take him and put him in his little kennel
Yeah,
because I'm just like, we're not playing this game. I am in charge, not you.
but when I am home with him, He is calm. He does what I ask him to. When they come home, my man be right all over the place.
Yeah, that's good. We have
Yeah,
actually we have our friends helping us with giving us advice
yeah.
in terms of how to care for him
A-
because
And we
this
found, and they also recommended, well, you showed me at first, but I didn't know that they were connected to them. There's a black dog food maker. Like he as a black owned business. And so, we'll probably invest in that as well.
yes, he does. We didn't even know how to potty train him on the pad,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, we have him going in the backyard. So he knows to go in the backyard. The only part we're having trouble with, and this is my fault, is that when he wakes up, I take him outside. And I didn't take him outside today. And he peed on the carpet.
Again.
Yeah. So
So that part, you hear him scratching.
yeah,
That part right there is a no for me. Um, I just don't like
yeah.
smells like that. So for me, it's like I think we got him last week. I gave him about three baths already, and of
That's
course
because
I know that.
he pooed in his he
Good.
peed good.
Okay.
That's because he pooed in his kennel and then he's laid down in it. So you're like, but that
It,
guy, he hasn't pooed in his kennel since. He knows to go outside. He does his thing. He sniffs around. He does his thing. I pick it up sometimes and then come inside the house.
yeah. If I could, I would bathe him every other day. He would get a bath every other day because I just don't like that dog smell. Ugh, gross. Ugh. Pray for me, y'all.
Yeah,
But
he
in
don't
terms
stink
of,
though.
I mean, he doesn't stink, but it's still like a smell that's like a dog. He don't
Yo,
smell like a human.
yo, Baxter said, I wolf, yo. I
But
wolf chili, yo.
I definitely think that as we talked about compromise, sometimes it's good. I think most times in a healthy, I keep saying healthy relationship, compromising it's good because it's for the better good of not only you, but Amber, do not put him in that chair, please. Gross.
Mhm. Yes.
I think it definitely is it shows like when I hear him playing with the kids and stuff like that, it really helps. Is Jamie taking him right? Because now we have to think about housing a dog,
No,
and them joints are not cheap
she just said when I traveled.
with him when he travels.
Yeah, no, I ain't taking him with
You
me.
should.
He's staying right here. This
You
is his home.
you definitely should take him with you.
Look, Tashoy don't like the dog smell either.
See? Yeah, yo. Pray for me. That's all I have to say. Pray for me.
Says back says spray him with perfume.
Mm-mm. That's like a stink man with that cheap cologne. That
Uh,
joint be worse, the worst. It's almost like don't even like, ugh. Yeah, I probably will just continue to give him showers, baths often because I do not like that smell.
he alright. He's all
What
right.
he farted?
Yeah,
Go put him outside.
my man be farting in his sleep.
Go put him outside. He hasn't pooed. Anyway, on oh he
Okay.
pooed?
He-
Then you need to go clean it up. See?
we're teaching our kids responsibility. But look, y'all, it is an hour and
Which is
25
great.
minutes, which is great. He just peed. He didn't poo.
Okay.
So we appreciate you rocking with us, Carlene. You are Proverbs 62.
Listen. It's all good. It's all good. The kids are enjoying him. So
Okay, my sister's dog is sprayed with Versace and he smells so good.
for real?
I hear you. I hear that.
I don't know. I don't know, Sister Pattern, but did you talk about when you are
I'm gonna
taking
get
down your tree down? Yes,
I'm a
we did talk about
I'm
that.
gonna get him that cologne they sell in TJ Maxx. You ever seen it? It's called
No,
Animale. Anmale. It's called
it's
Animale.
time to go.
That's a that's a that's a ravishing cologne right there. They
It's
sell
time to
it,
go.
somebody gave me that at church one time. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Animale. Y'all ever heard of that cologne? They sell it in TJ Maxx.
You
It's one
should
of them.
buy it and wear it.
No, thank you.
But yes, we're taking down the tree. So next time you see us, we will not have this tree in
Yo,
our
yo,
background.
Shout out to the Christmas tree. It's gonna be here next week.
No, it is not. Boy,
Look, y'all, we appreciate y'all.
yes.
We'll see you next week, Friday.
That's it.
This is
Halloween.
JV.
Peace.
Peace.
3, 2, 1.